You're listening to the Life Coaching Secrets Podcast, episode number 93. Did you know that life coaches are needed now more than ever? I'm Frank Macri, founder of Thriving Coach Academy. I've trained over 1,000 coaches and helped them launch their own successful coaching businesses. If you want to make an incredible income and impact as a coach and have a lot of fun doing it, I'll show you exactly how to get it done. This is Life Coaching Secrets. What's up, coaches? In this episode, I'm going to talk about a subject that I geek out over, and it is the subject of positive psychology. So I'll talk about what positive psych is, how I discovered it, why it's important for you to understand as a coach, and I'll even leave you with some big positive psychology concepts that you want to be aware of, so that way you can show up in the best possible way as a coach. So when I was in college, I was a psychology major, and most of the classes I took were focused on one thing. And that one thing was what was wrong with people. A lot of my courses were focused on the countless different mental illnesses that people could have, how to spot them, how to understand them. And that is what traditional psychology over the past many decades has primarily focused on. When someone says that they are going to see a psychologist, one often wonders, oh, well, I wonder what's wrong. There must be a problem. And that is because traditional psychology has taken what is called as a disease model, which is understanding what's wrong with someone, what's the problem, and how could you fix that problem. And it wasn't until the past couple of decades when another field within mental health started to emerge. And it is a field that I believe completes the puzzle of mental health that we've been missing for so long. And that is what is known as positive psychology. Positive psychology, rather than focusing on what's wrong with people, it focuses on what's right about people and how can you take someone who's already functioning and get them to that next level. How can you help someone have experience a life where they are flourishing? And really optimize human functioning. So a psychologist by the name of Martin Seligman is known as one of the founders of positive psychology. And this is what he sought to understand and do research on. So in this episode, I'm going to share with you his most well-known model that also gives you an overview of the 5 key areas of positive psychology. Now, obviously, there's so much I can cover in a short podcast episode like this, but I want you to know that one of the benefits of being in Thriving Coach Academy is we give our coaches as an optional add-on to their curriculum an entire course on positive psychology. It is offered as a continuing education course, so that way our coaches can get extra training hours and also help them stand out by knowing the best strategies and concepts within positive psychology that they can use to enhance their coaching practice and help their clients get better results. So the model that Martin Seligman created, it's known as the PERMA model, PERMA, and this is an acronym that each of those letters stands for something different. All of those represent a pillar within positive psychology. So PERMA, PERMA. Now, the P in PERMA stands for positive emotion. Positive emotion is one of the areas explored in positive psychology. And when you think about it, traditional psychology has focused so much on the opposite. It's focused so much on negative emotion, anxiety, and shame, and fear. All of these different things, sadness, that depression that people go through. And there wasn't, until relatively recently, there wasn't much understanding on positive emotion. So what is it that helps people feel happy and joyful and grateful? So positive emotion is one of those areas that there's been a lot of interesting research done, and not just in understanding what creates positive emotion and how much positive emotion we really need, but also how it can influence our lifespan. So there was an interesting study done where a bunch of nuns they had to write application letters when they were entering the convent. And this study is so fascinating to me. So what they did is they analyzed all of these different application letters that the nuns wrote when they were around 18 years old. They were entering the convents, and these letters were analyzed for how the expression of happiness that each of these nuns had in those letters. And all of these nuns lived a very simple and moderate lifestyle. They didn't drink or smoke. They had a balanced diet. Most of them worked as teachers. So they followed and tracked the lifespan of these nuns over many decades. And they found that the nuns who indicated the highest levels of happiness, especially from those application letters, they ended up living longer lives. At the age of 85, 90% of nuns whose happiness was in that upper quarter, those nuns were still alive, compared with only 34% who were least happy. And then even at the age of 94, over half of the happiest nuns were still alive, while only 11% of those whose happiness fell into the lowest quarter were still living. So happiness can literally buy you years of life. In the case of the nuns, it was an average of 9.4 extra years of life. So whenever I share this research with our students, it makes me want to bust out into Oh Happy Days from Sister Act, because I'm thinking of the nuns, I'm thinking of Whoopi Goldberg. It's just so awesome that they did this study. So positive emotion is essential for a thriving existence. It is essential. So when a lot of traditional psychologists, the focus is on how could we just eliminate or reduce negative emotion. Positive psychology comes in to offer that next step, which is, okay, great. Now that we've minimized negative emotion, how could we enhance and cultivate positive emotion? One of the other positive emotions that was found to have a significant impact on people's subjective well-being is optimism. So someone who is optimistic, they have a sense of confidence about their future. They have a belief that things can get better. They believe in new possibilities, whereas pessimists are the opposite. Okay, they have a lot of doubt and hesitancy. They often anticipate negative things to happen. And there has been research found on this that optimists end up suffering much less anxiety and depression in their life. Optimists also are much better at adapting to negative life events that happen. And they've also found that optimists exert more effort towards their goals. They tend to not give up because they assume that they'll be able to handle things successfully, whereas pessimists are more likely to anticipate things will go wrong. So as a result of anticipating that, they're more likely to give up. And this is one of the signs that I think makes someone an incredible coach, when they can believe in possibility. So if you're someone that believes in possibility, you believe in the capacity of humans to change, then that is I believe to be one of the top 5 signs of incredible coaches, believing that anything is possible. So optimism is one of those positive emotions that has been found to have a huge difference on someone's life. Okay, so that is the first concept in the PERMA model, which is, again, P for positive emotion. Now, the E in that model stands for engagement. And what engagement is about is how engaged and connected someone feels to what they're doing in their life. Now, there is a term that is used in positive psychology known as flow. You may have heard the concept of flow before, being in the flow, or a lot of athletes might describe it as being in the zone. Musicians might say they are one with their music. And this concept of flow was coined by a positive psychologist research who has a name that is quite difficult to pronounce, but I will try my best. His name is Csikszentmihalyi, and he is a Hungarian American psychologist. And he came up with this concept of flow to really describe that experience that we go through where we are fully immersed in an activity that we're doing. So do you ever find yourself doing something and then hours go by and it didn't even feel like hours went by? That is one sign that you are in flow. You were so incredibly engaged in what you were doing. You were very present with it, and you were able to focus entirely on the task at hand. So there is a lot of benefit to getting in a flow state in life. It's been found that individuals who get in their flow state and they do things that get them there, that they are much happier and they are much less depressed in their life. So what are things that get you in that state of flow? What puts you in that state of flow? One of the ways to figure out how to generate a flow state for you is by knowing what your top strengths are, being able to do things that let you utilize your strengths, but still challenge you a little bit, but not too much. So there is an entire assessment that we give all of our coaches who go through our positive psych training where they're able to pinpoint exactly what their top strengths are, and they're able to use that assessment with clients as well if they're wanting to support their clients and knowing what their character strengths are and then using that as a way to do things that get them into a flow state. So that is what the E in the PERMA model stands for. That is engagement, and it's all about getting yourself in a state of flow. The R in the PERMA model is standing for relationships. So we are social creatures, and there's evidence everywhere that we need relationships to survive. And social connections in our life actually become more important as we age. The type of social environments that we put ourselves in plays a very critical role in our physical health and also in preventing cognitive decline. So it's important to ask yourself with the relationships in your life right now, whether it be family, friends, people in your community, do those relationships fill you up? How is the quality of those relationships? What is the quality? What are the relationships in your life that really do fill you up? What are the relationships that drain you? Because it's very important to cultivate relationships that fill you up. It is literally needed for your well-being. And one of the interesting findings in positive psych is that in order to flourish, one needs around 6 to 8 hours of social interaction every single day. Every single day, 6 to 8 hours. Now, when we think about the pandemic and the lockdowns that happened, and even the aftermath of the pandemic and how many more people might be more hesitant or resistant to social settings, and we see the impact that that's had on people's well-being. We see that more people struggle with anxiety and loneliness and depression. And it makes sense because one of the factors is that there's less social interaction. So think about that for yourself. 6 to 8 hours a day of social interaction to have optimal human flourishing. And of course, the quality of those social interactions matter as well. You want to be surrounding yourself with people that lift you up, communities that support you and encourage you. So that is what the R stands for in the PERMA model, relationships. The M stands for meaning. Okay, so meaning is having a sense of purpose in your life. Having a sense of purpose, or one might describe it as a calling. Some might experience a sense of meaning by doing something that goes beyond themselves, serving something greater than themselves. Some people might find their meaning in their profession, through social or political causes, through creative endeavors, through their religious or spiritual communities, and others might find a sense of meaning in their extracurricular or hobby activities, or through ways they volunteer or support their local communities. So what in your life gives you meaning? What gives your life a sense of purpose or meaning? One of the ways to understand what gives your life meaning is by knowing what your personal values are. What are the things that you care most deeply about? What do you really value most? Now, those who report living a purposeful life end up having much greater life satisfaction and fewer health problems than those who feel disconnected from a sense of purpose. A lot of people who, when they think about their life purpose, they often look towards their career and the work they're doing right now, because your work is a form of contribution that you make. And there comes a point in many people's lives where they realize that they feel a nudge inside them to contribute more, or to show up in a bigger way, or to make a bigger impact. Sometimes that's what draws many people to become coaches, because they're doing well in their careers, they're successful, but they're not fulfilled, and they want to have that fulfillment. So if you have ever experienced this, you're not alone. As positive psychologists have found, meaning is one of the core elements to having a thriving life and for flourishing. So that is what the M stands for, meaning. And then finally, we have A, which stands for accomplishment. Accomplishment is what we feel as we're working towards something and as we're reaching goals. It's when we master some kind of endeavor. And accomplishment's also about having motivation to do what you set out to do. And this is something that has been found to contribute to well-being, because individuals look at their lives with a sense of pride. So think about for yourself, when is the last time that you really felt a sense of accomplishment? When's the last time you felt that? What did you do? What did you achieve? And looking forward, what is something that you can pursue? What is an opportunity you can explore that would contribute to you having a sense of accomplishment in your life? Now, of course, there's all different types of motivations that people might have, whether it be externally motivated towards having more money or more fame, or more internally motivated, which is, doing something because you just want to grow, or you're just looking for a deeper connection to yourself or others. So whatever it might be for you, right, you want to think, what is it that some kind of goal that you want to pursue? What will that give you? What will motivate you to pursue that goal? So that is the A in the PERMA model. That stands for, again, accomplishment. So those are the 5 pillars of positive psychology. Inside our positive psychology course, we go a lot deeper into all of those, and we give specific tools that incorporate positive psychology that you can use with your clients. You can also use it with yourself. So I want to leave you in this episode with one of those positive psychology tools that you can use on yourself and with clients. And it's called 3 good things. It's called the 3 good things exercise. Now, with 3 good things, as the name implies, what you want to do is at the end of your day, and I encourage you to do this at the end of today, the day that you're listening to this episode, that you think about, what were the 3 best things that happened over the day? What were the 3 best things that happened over the day? Now, at first when you do this, it's going to be challenging. It's going to be hard. And the reason it's going to be hard is because our brain actually has a bias towards the negative. It is so much easier for our brain to look for what went wrong and all the things that we could have done differently or that could have unfolded differently in our life. And this depletes our satisfaction, okay? This causes more anxiety when we just focus on all of the things that went wrong. And we overanalyze bad events over and over again. And if you've done this, you're only human. Most people do this. Most people spend much more time thinking of all the things they wish they could correct instead of really savoring the things that did go right during their day. So what you want to do is think about, what was it that went well during your day? And if possible, write those 3 things down. And if you really want to take this to the next level, you want to reflect on your role in each of those 3 things. So reflect on how you contributed to each of those things, how you personally contributed to those things. So instead of saying, oh, one of the good things is that it was sunny outside, one way that you can incorporate yourself in that is saying that one good thing is that you noticed that it was so sunny outside, that it was a beautiful day. So you want to mention and make sure you reflect on your role in each of those three good things. Now, you do this exercise every day for a week, you are absolutely going to notice a difference in your well-being. You're going to notice that you're going to feel more peaceful, more grateful during your day-to-day life. It is so simple and it is so powerful. And it's one of the things that I would have all of my clients do, no matter what they wanted coaching on. It was just a little homework I'd give them all to do in between sessions because I knew it was going to boost their well-being. So feel free to incorporate the 3 good things exercise in your own life and even with your clients and see what a difference that it could make. Even right now, as you listen to this episode, what is something that you are grateful for today? What's something that you are grateful for? What is one positive experience that you've had today? And what was your role in that experience? Doing this is really going to help you count those blessings that we have every day. And as hard as it might be to, even if you've had the worst day ever, and it might seem so difficult to think of 3 good things, it's always possible. It's always possible. Over time, it's going to start getting simpler and simpler for you to do it. And then it will become automatic. Your brain's going to be primed to focusing on all of the good things that happen. Okay. All right. So if you can't tell, I could geek out on stuff like this for hours and hours. I love positive psychology. And that 3 good things exercise is one of several others that we teach you to apply with yourself, to also use with your clients, and figure out how to take the findings of positive psychology to enhance your overall well-being. All right, so that's what I got in this episode on positive psychology and the role that it plays and how it influences your life as a coach. Thanks for tuning in. And before we close out this episode, I'm going to include a snippet of one of our coaches to share their story, their advice for you that they would give as someone who might be starting out as a coach, and their experience so far in their coaching journey. So enjoy their story, and I will see you in the next episode. Hey, would you like access to powerful coaching tools you can use on yourself and clients right away? For being a listener of the podcast, I'm giving you a VIP guest pass to get a sneak peek into my coach training program. Inside, you'll learn our coaches' secret tool they use to transform their clients' lives. And you'll also get a training on how to launch a coaching business. Just head over to www.thrivingcoachacademy.com/VIP to get started. I'll see you on the inside.